Okay, folks. We are back. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. Stay hired. That's my thing. Forgetting how they use the damn live stream now. All right, we're back. Here we go. As one crook check here, your one and only Blue Swiftly speaker. Back again for another Stay Hired Sunday. You guys know we do this week in and week out. We provide anything that you need, whatever problems, whatever difficulties you may be having, particularly in regards to adding value to your place of work. We're here every Sunday for about 30 minutes a day, breaking down major topics, certain things, and making sure we're doing our part to give you something to add value to your workplace. So before I get into today's topic, I'll just let Kimberly introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
I am Kimberly with Art and HR Solutions, and it is great to be here. How was your fourth?
The fourth was probably the greatest July 4th I've ever had. We went to,
Nice.
me and my girl, we went to St. Augustine. This was the only part of Florida that I have not visited. So it was a
Nice.
checklist off. I've been to St. Petersburg, the Keys, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, obviously Miami, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Naples, Tallahassee, Gainesville, Panama, every major part of Florida. I hit St. Augustine. Was on Daytona. Shoot, I almost forgot Daytona, Vero, and Charlotte. So one part that I haven't gotten to, and I was there. And whenever I'm on vacation, as you regular listeners know, you know what I'm doing. I'm thinking about work, obviously. And I'm thinking about getting back on these live streams, getting back on Sunday, getting with Kimberly. And one of the things I actually talked about this morning on the Move Swiftly Thought is I'm a runner. So we had a hotel that was right in downtown, and I got an opportunity to see Flagler College, to see the downtown area when there was nobody there that morning. And then it literally transformed that Friday as the fireworks came out. So
Yeah.
as I was seeing people prep for their businesses, like, I saw one lady, she's painting, she's doing like the last minute painting, and other people are making sure that the parking and the cones are set up. And, people were kind of gathering up. There's so many folks that are doing odd jobs. And we talk a lot about AI on this show. As you know,
Mhm.
that's kind of the new thing. But what I really wanted to get your perspective on and kind of just have a conversation about is those odd jobs that AI can't replace. A lot of former military, I know that's something you're very familiar with. A lot of people who do jobs that aren't favorable, aren't glamorous, but everything they do makes it so we can enjoy ourselves on a July 4th. So, I'll
Yep.
kind of just start there, and then we'll kind of break down the questions if you want to add anything to that.
I think about that often too, because a lot of times people take for granted that there's those people
Absolutely.
behind the scenes, right?
Hmm.
And so what happens when everybody leaves for July 4th, when you're going to a party or a festival or event,
Hmm.
there's those people that pick up the trash, clean the streets, put the chairs back, put the tables back, whatever that looks like, take the lights down. There's the people that set off the fireworks. There are so many things, and are they glamorous jobs? Absolutely not. But I think we live in a world now that they um, want that continuous income. And
Hmm.
so they're not thinking about, hey, there's these jobs still that AI can't do,
Right.
and so these people anyone that does any type of those things are so
Mhm.
important.
And that I'm so happy you brought this up because that leads into exactly what the discussion is going to go off behind, or what we're going to talk about today basically is making it so those odd jobs are seen as more valuable. All right. And
Yes.
I'm going to make sure I give you guys an example of this. So before the fireworks started, me and my girl, we found a fish place. And I mean, listen, Kimberly, the place was packed, absolutely packed with people. Obviously, it's July 4th. But again, one of the things I'm always doing is I'm always looking at the managers. I'm always looking at the people that are running the place to see how well they're doing. And then there was a lady who was running the shop, and she's making sure all the sauce gets here and all the fish is here and all the just doing so much that makes it so that people were able to enjoy their meal even though the place was packed. But she wouldn't be able to do that without a system. So the
Right.
question now becomes is how do you take the folks that are doing the manual labor, like you mentioned, cleaning up the porta potties? I mean, God, geez, doing that, putting cones on stuff. How do you
Mm.
systematize that to where you see more value, get people to see that as a valuable thing? Because too often are we hiring folks, are folks just looking on they're looking on a website or they're looking on something digital and then trying to match up, okay, is this person qualified for this job? with only
Right.
something that's digital versus can I see you in action? Can I see you actually doing something well? And then it's hard for
Right.
those people who are so humble and so focused. We talked about that actually when we first started. That are so focused, so humble in doing their job and putting themselves out there. So folks, again, they're there. The jobs are there, but you're not putting yourself out there so they know it's an actual skill. So, what's your thoughts on
Hmm. So really, it starts with us. It starts with every person.
that? Hmm.
You treat the CEO as well as you do the janitor. Think about it. When you go to these events or you even go to a store, the bathroom gets cleaned. It isn't anyone doing that. AI is not doing that except
Hmm.
for the janitor or the housekeeper, whatever that is. And
Hmm.
so think about that. We enjoy these things and we don't think about how it gets to there. Can you imagine
Okay.
the bathroom was never clean
Okay.
or the school was never clean?
Hmm.
So it starts with us and saying, we're going to treat everybody the same. It doesn't matter what their job role is.
Okay, and this brings me to another point that I want to make sure I'm on record saying, and I'd love to get your response to it because it was back, and I don't know if I've actually told you this story yet because it was a while ago. I don't know. I'll repeat it if anyone's heard it already. But so my sister, she went to University of Maryland. Me and Kimberly are both from the DMV area, and she did tell me a story about how she got to know the janitor really well in the dorms and the janitor was actually doing it so her daughter can go to that college for free. Okay, because she was an employee for the University of Maryland, her daughter was able, and her daughter wasn't even in college yet. Her daughter was in like I want to say like high school or middle school, and she was working this janitor job, cleaning up after all these college folks that are coming in, throwing up, puking their guts out, drunk.
Yep.
Again, this is college life, and she was
Right.
having to clean that up only because she wouldn't be able to afford to send her daughter to college, so she forgot about all her whatever plans she had. This was the goal, and I know now for a fact as I've grown up that the CEO that we revere so much is so appreciative of that person, but they never know who that person is. So when you mention starts with ourselves, can you just be a little more specific in terms of who are you talking about when you say start with yourself? Is it the person that's doing the odd job for a better future, or is it the CEO that is running this company? They have all the money in the world, but they know there's a disconnect between what they're doing and the people around them are just trying to get their job versus the lady that I just mentioned who's doing something that's going to be beneficial for the future and all that kind of stuff.
So when I say it starts with ourselves, that means
Hmm.
every level. It
Yes.
starts from the leader. So the leaders need to set that expectation
Hmm.
that without, we always talk about a framework. The
Hmm.
same goes with this. You think about a housekeeping at a university, and there could be, just say, 50 buildings,
Yes.
and the buildings are, three, 4 stories,
Yes, and
whatever
I
that looks like,
well, not to
right?
cut you off, but I've actually had to do that. There was a summer, guys, at Stony Brook University where I had to do some work study stuff and changing out, sheets and linen and all that. Man, me and my boy Pomero, we did it. We valued up. We got room for free. That stuff, and so we did what
Right.
we had to do.
Exactly.
Right.
So you think about the coordination it takes and the scheduling it takes, because that's
Hmm.
going to be, say, it's 100 housekeepers,
Yes.
and so how do they know they're appreciated? Well, their manager's manager, they
Hmm.
all know that if it's broke down, if that system, that framework is broke down, the
Yeah.
schedule goes off, 5 people call out,
Hmm.
something's not to get done, so other people are going to step up, right?
Right.
And so it's showing that appreciation every day. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying go overboard, but you be intentional
Yeah.
about who you're recognizing and not just recognizing the
Yeah.
people that may have a PhD.
Yeah. It's so crazy that you're mentioning this because it keeps boiling back down to results. Every time we talk, every Sunday, I honestly think it happens every single Sunday. It keeps boiling down to results. So, to the CEO, owner of X company, you guys name whatever, just name Bill Gates, all right? Bill Gates has to be able to do so much selling on his own or so many things on his own to where the folks that he lets close to him are the folks that can protect the software of Microsoft, protect the things
Mhm.
that are kind of patent pending about Microsoft. And those folks may not have a business degree. In many ways, they don't have a business degree. And you can apply this
Right.
to every single organization, go along the lines. There are specific roles. Now, the question now becomes is the humility it takes, right? The humility it takes to actually go and do these odd jobs. Hand up, I'm telling you guys, I had a college degree, and I was spending hours cleaning up the gyms and we cleaning up the bathrooms, and taking trash out, all sorts of stuff because I knew I was going to be. It was an overnight shift, and I had time to go out, recruit, scout, and do what it is I was
Hmm.
the mentality that you have to walk around with. The person doing it is you have to show you're willing to do these things, folks. You cannot walk around just acting like you have it all figured out because you end up in this corporate ladder that is never ending. It's never going to end. And then there's no foundation built because now in your own head, you deserve a certain salary. You got this PhD, you got this education, and you're walking around saying, I'm owed this certain salary. Well,
Oh,
I mean, you're going to lose with that mentality versus I'm available, I'm valuable to do this specific thing. That's
right.
where the question becomes now because now AI now does become something that starts to emphasize those sorts of things as we sell ourselves. So, I guess the question now would become, what would be a a solid kind of mix in terms of, hey, there's this odd job that I know AI can't replace versus, all right, well, I got to use AI in some way, shape, form, or fashion to sell all the things. In fact, I'm like, before we started recording, I'm doing this very thing because I'm going to start back my boxing classes.
Hmm.
So I'm going to do it throughout the week. This is something AI can't
Do.
do
Hmm.
for me. I have to actually be at the park to do the boxing lessons, but I can say it in a way, I can put the information out in a way that's attracting all the people. So that's something I'm doing on my personal end, but I'm curious to
Right.
get your thoughts. And then we'll get into the questions probably about 15-minute mark today.
Okay. So what I think is that anytime when is your company ready for that? And what
Yes.
what can you automate? And that's the first thing, because if your employees aren't ready for that,
But
that's an issue because they have to be on board as well. But you're right, there's so many things that cannot be done, cannot be automated, and so
right.
you really need to do AI readiness, and see where your company is at for that.
Okay. Just
So
just so the listeners are clear, because some people might not know what you mean by automate. Can you just elaborate a little bit?
sure. So
Yeah.
something like reports.
Mhm.
What can AI do for me? What can we, streamline and don't have to worry about? And then these jobs like that
Mhm.
actually need people and define what that looks like. We always talk about job descriptions, defining role. It's the same thing, except you're now saying what can AI automate, such as reporting, for example, and
Mhm.
what can they not? And then
Right.
separate it from there. So that would be my answer to that
Yeah.
question.
Okay, that's a big one, folks. That is a huge one. Just a few weeks ago, in the clips, there's by the way, it's a couple clips that went pretty viral, at least from my channel viewpoint. A couple thousand views is a big viral moment. A lot of people don't like listening to this type of education. We're not as entertaining as some of the other YouTubers out there. But the thing about what you just said about automating, uh, you have to understand that when a company figures out what they can automate, to if you are being paid to automate that thing, you won't be there in 2026. Okay, if you were being paid to just automate the thing that they figured out that they could use with AI, you won't be there because there won't be a need for you. That's when we talked about Microsoft and the coding and a lot of the stuff that was going wrong. So now, what is the actual fixing thing that you need to do when it comes to keeping yourself valuable? So today's well, before I get to the questions, I'll let you add anything if you wanted to.
No, I'm good.
All
Just
right,
going
good.
with the questions.
All right, good. So the let's put it out there. So the prompt this week was come up with 5 questions a business owner would ask about assessing the value of handyman or odd jobs that cannot be replaced via AI. Okay, first question that got generated was, what specific tasks require hands-on physical presence that no AI or automation can replicate, no matter how advanced? And I'll kick it to you if you have anything. But the thing I saw just this past Friday again, I was taking my morning run and I saw a lady of all places, a woman. Okay, it's like a woman on a ladder, and she's painting the top of her business, doing her thing, and I almost stopped like, Go get it, girl. Can you come on the show and really talk to us about handing? Because that's something even I don't like doing. So that is specifically something and artificial intelligence is not doing. All right, actually painting the stuff to make it look presentable for this huge July 4th crowd that we're about to have. So I'll
Well,
let you have
the uh the robots are coming, I'm sure. I know everybody, but
it.
don't know if I'm into that one. We'll
Right.
see.
Right.
So I think, builders, for example,
Uh-huh.
you can't, and I mean, leaders can't be replaced. I mean, you think they can be replaced, but you have to have that. We crave human connection. And so
Yes.
that human connection is so important. But
Yes.
builders, anything to do with building something,
Absolutely.
cannot be replaced. Parking attendants, housekeepers,
Hmm.
plumbers, electricians, carpet installers, so there's so many different things that AI can't replace. And
Hmm.
so what are we doing to keep ourselves relevant? What are
Yes.
we doing different that AI cannot do in our roles? And that's how we need to think.
Making a bold prediction, folks. July 6th, 2025. Come 2027, these odd jobs are going to be more desirable. Come 2027,
Blue
they're going to
collar
be so much
workers.
more. They're going to be so much more desirable because it's not going anywhere. And this internet thing has gotten too far. There's people now that can pretend to be somebody they are online, and I think the world has just had enough of it. They want human to human connection. They want to know that you're physically able to actually do something with the job, do your job. So
Think about truck drivers too. I mean,
truck drivers.
our supply chain, you think you go into the store and oh, this is out. Well, it's because our supply chain is really suffering
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to find truck drivers,
Yep. Just the
and
idea of going to a CDL, all that.
yep. So think about these things when you're looking for something. I'm not
Let
saying you
me
have to
tell
do it
you.
full time, but you can do it part time.
Yeah, we had so just before Wednesday, before we left for the trip, we had we at the school. So I teach, for those of you who don't know, I teach at a school in the Center for Creative Education, and we had a presentation from a former military guy. His name is Rob Torillo. Shout out to you, Rob, man. You got to get on the show. Hopefully, we'll get him on the show. He said he'll be down to do it, but he actually trains people on how to train schools and churches and anybody on how to deal with active shooters. And when
Nice.
the Sandy Hook thing happened, he said his heart was crushed and he had to do something because even he brought up Columbine. And Columbine, these people weren't trained. They would have the whole lockdown method, and
Right.
it was a whole like 4 minutes or something like that, where all they had to do was leave and go to the library. I'm goosebumps thinking about it because I could only imagine being in that. They all they had to do was leave, and they would have been set free. And it's all because they don't value the people like Rob. Again, we grew up I was in the DC sniper era where I was told that
Yep.
whole lockdown method. Here I'm 36 years old, and it's like I'm now learning these things because we don't value
Right.
these folks that do these hard,
Right.
like handyman work. So shout out to you,
Hmm.
Rob, man. I'm definitely looking forward to doing a deep
I
dive.
would love for him to come on the show. That'd be
Oh man,
great.
he's awesome. Yeah, I gotta introduce you to him. He's awesome. He was awesome. Yeah, also another fitness guy. Teaches a lot of the self defense mechanisms. So again, this kind of
Nice.
stuff just happens, folks. It just happens. I can't plan it. It's when you put yourself in these positions. You run into folks that are like minded, and the stuff just happens. I am not gonna sit there and tell you I'm just some magician that knows it, but it just happens. All right.
Hmm.
Anyway, number two. How does reliable handiwork directly impact the customer satisfaction, property value, and daily operations? Now, I just gave an example of this previously. There was so many food spots that we could have stopped at, but they were all packed, so there was no avoiding the whole waiting in line thing. By the time we picked that seafood spot, again, now I'm locked in trying to pick up some notes for what we're going to talk about Sunday, and I see this lady like under pressure, cool. The place is going crazy. There's folks just wanting their food, and she's just like, all right, just follow the system. Get this, get that, boom, 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 boom. That led to my side to know that nothing was going to be going wrong with the things I'm actually consuming in my mouth. So that
Hmm.
was a real life example that I just had this past Friday.
Right. Well, you think about a handyman. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
HVAC, we're going to do too. So your residential, your home, and then the building that you work in or own.
mm-hmm,
So if the HVAC breaks, what are you going to do? If a pipe bursts, what are you going to do? So keeping up on that and having somebody that does a good job, a handyman, is so critical to ensuring that you can continue living in your home or running your business.
You just answered the question number three. The real cause of not having someone available for small repairs on odd jobs. Go try to pay for a AC unit. Go try to repair one yourself, and go try to do all of that and try. No. Me personally, no. Not doing it. Not my field. That is the worst thing to have to do. So having these people available, they just make your life a little bit easier. So pretty much answer number three. Let's go to number
So something you
four.
may not know, I can pretty much fix anything.
Hmm.
The only thing I do not do is electrical and HVAC. But anything else I can build, I can fix.
Oil changing and all that.
Yep. Change
Oil change.
sinks. Change
Chasing.
sinks. Yeah, I
Oh man,
fixed my mom's washer one time, so
I'm telling you. And
what
these
a
are things
HR, that's a handyman.
that and it's crazy how much it ties in. It didn't really hit me until the ride back how much it actually ties in. And for those, so this is going to be Kimberly's first time hearing this. By the time we get to Sunday, I'd say Sunday 12 p.m. My mind is kind of locked in on what we're going to talk about. So, what the topic is going to be, and it's only because the stuff we talk about here, Stay Hard Sunday, it's a 24-hour thing. It's every single thing that happened to you throughout the day. If you can't find something to talk about in terms of Stay Hard Sunday, then you're really not focused. You're just really
Right.
kind of going. There's so much that goes on that you just got to tune in. So, all
Mhm.
right. So we're on number four. Yes. How can I build long-term trust and consistency with a go-to handyman rather than hiring based on price alone? Man, I one person's name I gotta bring up, Joe, my man Joe. Man, growing up, Joe was one of the family friends, from Trinidad. It's my family's from Trinidad, and Joe fixed our back porch. He fixed our basement. He hooked us up with the firehouse that we put in the fireplace that we put in the house. Every little thing that we asked for, Joe would come in and hook us up with a deal for all the home upgrades. So, Joe, if you're listening, because I was young and I'd come home from school and I'd see Joe working away, putting tiles down, putting carpet down, doing this, doing that. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to go take a nap. He goes, it's the island, the Yankee boys and them. You just go and sleep. So Joe, and then he was a family friend. So when it came to barbecues and all that kind of stuff, we always invited him up,
Right.
give him like dinner or something like that if he was working late. So that answers the question right there. Really, these are humble people that, hey, they're just there to do their job, work hard. They're not, there to cause it. They're trying to be productive. So, I mean,
You
you,
have to
you might be
deliver
the Joe. Yeah.
consistent results.
Yeah. You
That's all
might
you
be
gotta
the Joe
do.
based on what you just said.
Mhm.
Did
Yep.
you have anything to add?
Yeah, it's to deliver consistent results. That's it.
Got it.
That's how you build a relationship with people and keep your word.
All right, final one. Which odd jobs, when handled well, create opportunities for upsells, referrals, or better employees' productivity? Hmm. I'll let you take this one. I mean, I would think that it would be things like an oil change, then you could fix other parts of their car, stuff like that, doing small things. But I'll let you take it since you're obviously the handyman of the two of us, the better handyman of the two of us.
So if you think about it, if you go into somebody's house or even a business and you fix their toilet, you do a great job.
Hmm.
Oh, well, I noticed that your cabinet is broken or your tile needs fixing. So it's a conversation. You're relationship building, you're pointing out and have a price in mind. I see that your tile is broken there. It'll cost you 250 to go ahead and add that in. You want to go ahead and do that now, or do you want to schedule it for tomorrow at 2 o'clock? You're going to assume that you have that business because you're confident and you're building that relationship by being honest. And if something doesn't need to be fixed, say that too.
That last part,
Yeah,
because there's nothing worse than, I mean, listen, if you go and you take money from something and they find out there's so
you
few
ruined it.
and out there, you're gonna ruin your entire business. Because
Yep.
I actually put this out, and I'll close you guys out with this. I put this part in my first book, Swiftly. I told a story about a mechanic who may be really good, but there's a dealership that comes in and offers a price to all the people that buy a new car to come back to them for their actual car repair. So the great mechanic who wasn't doing things ethically or whatever loses his business because the car dealership comes and takes in all the business. So handyman, you have got to be very ethical in regards to how you take business. 98% of people don't know how to fix a lot of stuff. You can
Right.
be very ethical in terms of how you charge it. Trust me, there's enough money to go around. You don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But you have to be very ethical in regards to how
There's
you.
enough people that don't know how to do it that
There's
no
enough
one's running
people.
out.
There's corporate deals, man. We had shout out to a guy named Hugo who he cleaned the entire building from buffering floors to cleaning everything that went wrong, and dirt comes in and he's the one doing it. So again, shout out to all you handyman folks out there. Shout out to everyone,
Yep.
all the former military, former veterans, all the people that are just doing thankless things every single day. We like to celebrate you all every single day, not
Every
just
day.
on the July 4th air, because we know the value of what you guys bring to the table. So I'll kind of close out with that unless there's anything you want to add. We can officially drop the mic for another great. This is what we do.
We're gonna drop the mic on that one. That was perfect.
Yeah, we're going to officially drop the mic. See you guys next Sunday. Again, main website to check out to dive deeper into all the work I'm doing, makeitmove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Kirkcheck and Kimberly Move. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.
See you next time.
Bye.